Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to issues 91 all the way up to issue 94 of Build the Terminator.
The Terminator, week by week, built the T-800, the killing machine that defined a generation. Easy to build with high-quality metal components. You can control sound, lights, articulated limbs, and L.A.D. eyes. And explore the Terminator universe. Build the Terminator, issue 1, just $1.99.
So happy new year everyone and welcome back to more Terminator. So I hope everyone had a nice Christmas period and New Year's despite obviously the restrictions we've had all over the world, not just in the UK. In the UK sadly we've just entered our third lockdown, so times are getting quite bad here, but hopefully from Easter things are going to get better. We've got free vaccinations, so fingers crossed. I don't know what people think about the vaccinations, but I don't really care if they work or not. I just want things to go back to normal like everyone. So let's crack on anyway. So a few things to run through today. I've got some new announcements and whatnot, but first of all I'm just going to run through what we're doing today. So in issue 91 we're assembling a muscle for the left thigh. We're also picking up the first component for the foot, and then when we go on to issue 92 I'm going to do these in two segments of videos for you because they're not very long. So this is probably, I always say it, but I think this is going to be the fastest of all time because these four issues look like there's nothing to do basically. And the issue 92 we're working on parts of the foot and also part of the knee, and obviously that's for the left leg, so it doesn't look like much to do. Obviously I'll show you the parts before we start. Also one other thing as well to show you, so I want to do a little shout out here to Ian Campbell. He's got a company called Partworks Upgrades, and what they do lots of mods for different builds of different brands and magazines and whatnot. They do Terminator obviously and other things as well. You can check him out on Facebook and obviously on his website partworksupgrades.com. I recently bought from him a Gatling gun, so I just want to show you this quickly. It's pretty cool. So that's the Gatling gun, and that's what I'm going to use with obviously in the other arm. So I've got a Gatling gun and also the plasma rifle which came with the Terminator. As you know, for the subscribers we got that for free, and so that's one of the guns. And also I've got a pretty cool CPU unit as well. So that's the chip obviously what would go in the Terminator in his head. They do have a few different types. You've got ones that are like damaged or ones like this. Some are painted, some aren't. I didn't want the damaged one. I just wanted one that was complete, undamaged basically, because my guy is going to be new, so I just thought I might as well just keep it consistent. He's not damaged, but they're the new parts I've got, so I really like them. Great work Ian, and definitely recommend you guys check him out and all the stuff he does Ghostbusters and all DeLorean and all sorts of things, so really good stuff. I really like that. And what I'm going to do, by the way, with the Gatling gun, so this actually is battery operated and it spins, but this is a toy, so it will actually have lights that are a bit, well, multicoloured, and obviously that wouldn't be consistent with the film. So I'm going to try and do a mod where I change the lights and the effects. I'm also going to spray this gun full black, because at the moment you can see it's got a bit of camo on there, so I want this all black. I'll weather it a bit as well. I'm going to do the same with the plasma rifle, so they're pretty much on par. In terms of the mod there, I think is a bit beyond me to try and do that, but I will try. There's a guy on the Facebook group called Steve, he's really good at mods. He's on a great gun, and I'm going to link that in my video at some point so you can check what he's done and hopefully what I can do in the future. But they're my two guns. One other thing as well, at the end of this video I'm going to show you a new project I'm going to be starting soon. There's a really exciting one coming out from Fan Home, and it's basically for the Marvel fans, so I'm not going to say anything yet, but I will show you at the end of the video, and that's really exciting. So anyway, let's get started. Right guys and girls, so as always I've just laid out the parts we need for the two issues we're going to work on first today, which is 91 and 92. So starting from 91, we've obviously got the first part of the left foot, so that's that section there. Then we've also got the muscle connector, which is this section here. Just to note that these parts are all plastic. This is obviously the left thigh muscle. Then you've also got the inner left thigh muscle, and also the muscle cap, so that section there. You've also got three little screws, which doesn't actually say which ones they are, funny enough, so but I think they're probably PM or PB screws. So that's issue 91, and then for issue 92 you've got a few more components here. So first of all you've got this metal section, which is good, that here is metal. That's the knee joint. Then you've got 92.2, so this is a muscle tendon. Then we've got some little caps here, so these are the details for the left foot. Again, they're all plastic. And then a few washers. So first of all, we've got the centre part for the joint there, 92.4, which I believe is the rubber washer for the tendon. Yep. And then lastly, in terms of the screws, so we've got the two long ones there. They are the PM 3x16mm screws. And then you've also got 4 of the little ones, which are the 2x6mm PB screws. In terms of what you need for these two issues, not much. Screwdrivers, some super glue and a cocktail stick, and obviously we need our Terminator, which is in the back. Okay, so for step 1, you want to take the muscle cap, and then at the bottom part here where the circular section is, you want to put a thin layer of glue all the way around that, because that's what you're going to secure to the narrower inner thigh muscle. So that's obviously the larger circular part. So I'm just putting some glue around that. Obviously that's going to make it nice and snug and not fall out. So there, we're going to take the inner thigh part. Obviously we're going to go from the smaller side, so that section there, and just push that through. Hold that down for a second, and that should be secure, like so. Then we're going to take the other part of the muscle, and we're going to thread that through the wide opening, so the other end, and push that right through the hole, like so. And that's steps 1 to 4. And then very simply for this final part, so steps 5 and 6, like I said, there's not much to do on today's issues, so we're going to breeze through these nice and quickly. You're going to take obviously the muscle connector, and at the edge here you want to put another line of glue all the way around, because we're going to put that on the end of the inner thigh muscle on the other hole, so it's all going to be one unit then. And then that will be that issue complete. So like I said, today it's not rocket science, not too fiddly, but that's refreshing, because I do get annoyed with the ones that are very fiddly. Obviously it's to be expected with something like this, but it's nice when we've got the nice easy ones. So that's the issue complete. 91 is finished. Okay, so issue 92, steps 1 to 4 to start. Obviously we're going to use the foot today from the last issue, which wasn't needed, but we're going to add the components onto that. So first of all, what you want to do, you want to take the centre part for the knee joint, was that little plastic part there. And what you're going to do is you're going to put a little bit of glue on the little notches on the inside of it, and we're going to secure that to the knee joint. So I'll show you in a moment that there are corresponding holes for those pegs or studs, what you're going to call them, to slot into. So it's just obviously to give it a bit more security for that. So you can see on the inside there, the holes are there. I'm just going to put that over, line it up, make sure it clicks in like so, and then just hold that down for a moment. So that's obviously going to secure those two together like so. Then what we're going to do, we're going to take the muscle tendon, so that component 92.2, and you'll see that we've got the little washer and also the PWM screw, so that's that little black one. What we're going to do here, quite simply, we're going to put the washer over the end of the tendon, and then you're going to screw the little screw over that, so those two are secure to the tendon. So nice and simple, line that up and then just tighten it up. Make sure you don't over tighten the screw, so you'll feel it biting, and that's that part. So that was step 5 as well actually. So now we're going to go on to steps 6 to 8, and we're going to be using the foot next. So spin it around and you will see on the other side. So I just noticed, by the way, I had the wrong part of the foot. That's from another issue, the future one. That is the correct one. And as you'll see there are 3 holes along that. That's the one you want. And what we're going to do, we're going to put those little sockets into those holes. So steps 9 and 10, obviously what you're going to do, Like I said, you're going to thread those through, and the way you're going to secure those is actually with those little screws, which are the, let me double check, the PB 2x6mm. So you'll see obviously on these there's a line, and that will obviously slot into the section you want. So obviously it's not going to go any other way up. So they're all aligned, and all I'm going to do now is I'm just going to fix the screws in, so I'll do one at a time so they don't all fall out. And this is where I use my trusty magnetic screw, because sometimes these bits are a bit fiddly. And then once you've got that in place, just give it a good screw. And once that's done, that's how it should look. So you can now put that aside for the future issue. So for the final parts, you see that I've spun my Terminator around and brought it a bit closer to you. This is obviously the back of the left leg. This is the part we're going to be working on, because you need to attach the first muscle thigh to this section. But before we do that, what you need to do, you need to take one of the 3x16mm screws. So that's the nice long one. And what we're going to do, we're going to thread that through there, this end part here, and that's obviously what's going to join it onto here. So you'll see at the back on this side here, on the right side, I'll zoom in on the camera, that's where the part is there. You've got to do it the same section here. So I'm just going to thread that through and attach it. Now, one thing to mention, when I did the other one on the right hand side, the screw actually went all the way through the plastic, because this screw is actually too long for the actual part of the base of the pelvis for what they wanted to attach it to. So I might not have to do it for this side, but I did have to do it for the other one to get it all the way through. So I don't know about anyone else who's built this, if they had that same issue. I mean, it's still nice and secure, but in terms of like finesse, and I mean, no one's really going to look at the back end of the Terminator, but it doesn't look too good. But as we know, this build hasn't been 100% perfect. Okay, so unfortunately, as expected, anticipated from when I mentioned before about these screws that go right through to the edge, this one actually has gone blunt, so it wouldn't go all the way through. So where I mentioned on the right leg, the screw went right through to secure it, on the left side I can't get the screw out and to put the other one in, and I also can't get this one any further. So it's on there, obviously that muscle part, but it's not nice and snug to the plastic. So I'm hoping when it's connected to the other tendons and muscles and whatnot, it'll give it a bit more stability and be more rigid, because otherwise it might be a problem, because I've tried pliers, hammers, all sorts, and it just won't come out and it won't go any further. So that's a massive design flaw in my opinion, in terms of what we're working with in that area, and I'm really hoping it's not going to cause any problems further down the line, because it's a lot to undo if I continue. But I'm just going to leave that for today and move on to the final issues for 93 and 90. Okay, so for issues 93, you're going to be repeating the same steps as you did for step 1 on obviously issue 91, and that's where we're fitting the muscle cap to the inner thigh muscle, the other part of the muscle, and also the muscle connector. So I'm just going to quickly do that and skip ahead. So you saw it in the last video, so I'm only going to film one part of this, and then we'll skip ahead because, well, we only done this a minute ago and it's pretty easy. Okay, so that's the second muscle done, nice and easy. And then now we're going to do, just so the last steps, you're going to take the two parts of the foot, like so, and what you're going to do, you're going to place them over each other so they will line up. So they've just slotted on together nicely, so now obviously they're 3D. And you'll see at the bottom here, you might be able to see, there are two little screw holes. And what you want to do to secure those two together, you're going to take the little screws, so they are, I believe they are the PM screws. No, sorry, they're the PB 2x6mm. And you just want to take two of those screws and secure them together. So I'm just going to do that now. And then that's that issue complete. So again, like I said, a nice quick one. and move on to the final one. But going back to what I mentioned on issue 92 with regards to that screw fixing the part of the leg in, I'm really unhappy with that. And if any of you guys have had the same issue, let me know. Any recommendations on what I can do to fix it would be welcomed. Okay, just screwing the last one in now, and then that will be the beginning part of the foot, the left foot, complete. And I've also done the other muscle. So there you go. That's issue 93 complete. Okay, so issue 94, the final issue for today. Now, I haven't gone into any detail about the parts because they're pretty much the same, and there's only a couple different ones that we're going to be using. So to start off with, we're going to take this plastic part here, so that's the center part for the joint, and we're going to lay that over again the other part of the metal kneecap. So we had the other one last time, doing exactly the same thing as before. So we're going to put a little bit of glue on the studs, and then we'll just lay that over the corresponding holes to that knee joint. This is obviously steps 1 and 2. So there you have. That's how that should look. That's all secure. Once you've done that, you're going to take the other muscle tendon, and like we did last time, you know, we took that little plastic washer, you're going to put it on the end of that, and then you're going to take another one of your screws. So that's the PWM 2x5mm, and you're just going to secure that together for steps 3 and 4. So like I said, pretty much identical to 91. However, there is a nut recess on this part, and what you need to do is actually put an M3 nut, sorry, into that groove for it there, if you can see. So I've got one of them there. I'm just going to put that through, making sure that it goes the right way around, because it has to lay nice and flat. So sometimes it's going to be fiddly. Just spin that around. Okay, that's in there like so. And then what you're going to do now, obviously you can see I've got the Terminator turned around. There's the muscle we worked on the last issue. You're going to thread that tendon through the end. Now be very careful not to lose your nut, the M3 nut, and also your own nut, because I just lost one, so luckily there's always one spare. So I threaded that through there, as you can see. Just going to come around like that so you can see where that is. So I should leave that there for a moment the right way up so it doesn't fall out. So I've noticed that I've made a mistake, and what I've done, I've actually put this one on the top first of all, the one that won't screw any further in when it should have gone on the bottom. So to try to correct it, I've actually switched the tendons over. So you've got the tendon here which is going to hold the M3 nut, and hopefully there's a section at the very bottom here of the pelvis that I could screw it into. I should be able to connect it over like I have with the other legs. So I'm just going to essentially bodge it and wing it, but it should be okay, fingers crossed. We shall see. Okay, so I've had to spin him round again. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to put the tendon, so obviously I've got the M3 nut in there. I'm going to thread that through, and what you want to do is you're going to connect it to the lower part of the knee joint, and there's a hole for that. So what it shows is that the actual so both tendons need to be overlaid in this back point here, and I'm going to show you when I spin it round. But what you want to do to secure that is grab one of your long screws, which is the PM 3x16mm again, and then lock those two together. So I'm just going to do that now, and then I'll show you what I've done afterwards. Okay, so some few issues today with this build. I can't show you at the moment because to spin it around is going to cause too much chaos. So I'm just going to finish up on steps 13 to 14, and that's just attaching parts of the heel to the frame. So what you want to take these two plastic components here, and what you're going to do, you're just going to overlay them on this circular part here. So I'm just going to get those into position how they need to go. And then once you've got them where you want them, you're just going to use one of your screws, which is the PB2 times 6mm, to lock those two into place. And then once you've done that, that's how that should be looking. So that's steps 13 and 15 complete. So we've obviously worked on parts of the heel now, and obviously the foot. And the tendons are connected temporarily to my leg. I've got to go back and make them a bit tighter because there's a few issues there. But apart from that, that's issues 91 and 94 complete. Okay, so after a bit of a pain in the arse, to be honest, today, I think where I went wrong was connecting the wrong parts first to the back of the pelvis, and for that reason I've got screws that won't screw in, nuts that won't come off, and I've really got to play around with that. So, you know, I'm going to show you from the back of how the Terminator's looking. Obviously on the right leg he's fine, but the left leg is an issue. So I'm just going to be very careful with this because it's not fully secure. So that's how he's looking from the back. So you can see I've obviously now worked on the left part, but it's not fully secure. So I am going to have to go back to that, annoyingly, and hopefully I can fix that, because otherwise he's not going to stand up properly on the left leg. He's going to be have a bit of a dodgy leg. But then I could use that as just, you know, one of his battle scars. You know, he's a bit wounded, but nonetheless they're complete. The actual parts were easy, but the problem was the screws, once they're in, they won't come out, and you can't really force them out. So you've got to be very careful because you can do a lot of damage to the plastic, and I have done some damage to the plastic components for the muscle connector because I put it in the wrong place in the beginning, I believe. So, you know, no one's perfect. This is the first time I've done this type of build before, so I'm going to make mistakes here and there. This is my first major mistake, I will say, but I will hopefully rectify it, and then there won't be any more issues moving forward. So in the next issue, so I'm probably be a few weeks again now, so waiting for the next one. So we're going to be working on 95 to 98, and the issue 95 will be continuing to assemble parts of the foot and also the knee. So obviously we're finishing off this left leg with all the components, and getting close to 100 now, which is quite exciting, because as we know, we're then going to move on to the chest plate and all areas on the actual torso, and also wondering when we're going to get that back of the head to seal the head and also connect up the lights, because I'll have the remote control which will work to control the motor for both the eyes. Now, as I mentioned, I am going to start a new build soon as well, and that's going to be from Fan Home, so the Iron Man Mark III edition, which is going to be 60 centimeters tall, by the way, fully articulated, just like this guy, and looks really cool. So I'm going to share a video of this at the end, so you can see what I'll be doing, and I'm really excited for that, and I think I'm going to start in the next week or so, just waiting for my first delivery, so I can't wait. I'll put a link in the description, information on that if you want to subscribe as well and maybe build it. So now obviously I'm going to be finished off the Terminator. There's about 30 odd issues left. Well, actually less than 30 now. I think we've got about 25 or 26, and then so it's a couple more months, and then obviously now I'm going to move on to Iron Man. That's going to be 100 issues, so it's another year and a half at least, maybe 2. But you know me, I like my projects and I've got to keep going. So I hope you liked today's video, guys, and if you did, as always, please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you soon.